What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Nick and we're once again back for another unboxing, and I'm really hoping that this one is going to be a little bit more stimulating than the last one. The Monster Hunter World Collection Edition that I just unboxed was just full of disappointment, so at least this is Dragon Ball. I'm a huge fan of this series, and this one looks like it's gonna be pretty decent in terms of everything that you get. But don't worry, we're gonna find out is by unboxing it and checking it out. So hopefully guys enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so I am a huge Dragon Ball fan. It's one of the very first animes that I ever watched when I was a little kid. I can't remember which one was first. It was either Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon that I watched with my sister. Yes, I did watch Sailor Moon when I was a bit younger. It was alright. Looking back, it was a decent anime up until now. But at my heart, I am a huge Dragon Ball fan, and I have a ton of Dragon Ball collectibles, some from collector's edition, some from stuff that I purchased and imported all the way from Japan. Stay tuned at the very end of the video because I'm going to be showing you guys my entire statue collection, which is pretty epic. I take great pride in some of the stuff that I have. It's awesome, it's good stuff. So better than anything that you'll find in a video game collectible, let me just say. All right, so I've had a chance to take everything out, examine everything really closely to see what I like and what I don't like. So the first thing we got are these 3 image cards. They're actually pretty high detail. They are printed on a very thick cardboard, so they will not break very easily. But these are something that I would actually, if I were going to like a Comic-Con or something and the voice actors were there, I would actually take these and get them signed because of how well they're done. There is some gold leafing around some of the auras that are really nice touch, and overall the animation and the color are exceptional. So I'm not a huge person into artwork. I like this simplified thing of just getting cards and have really cool images kind of up front. So it's a nice substitute if you're not a huge person into art books, but still appreciate the anime all the same. So obviously you do get a physical copy of the game. It does have some DLC codes to unlock Super Saiyan God Mode Vegeta and Goku a little bit earlier. You do earn those characters a little bit later in the game, so it's just, I don't know, to unlock them early, I guess it's a nice benefit. You also get 2 exclusive lobby avatars. I haven't gone online yet, so I haven't figured out exactly what that is. But the more important thing is that you do get a steelbook for the game, which is something that I always harp should be in every collector's edition. You're paying for the most expensive version of the game, so the publisher should bony up the cash. The little bit extra cash and give you a steelbook. This one isn't the best steelbook that I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the worst. They did choose an interesting take on putting the villains on the front cover, which I thought was an interesting choice. The heroes are on the back, and you also do get a name of the game on the spine, which is definitely something that I always do appreciate, especially when they're sitting on a video game shelf. But yeah, not the best steelbook in the world, but it's definitely better than last year's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 steelbook, which was kind of just really plain, a 2-star Dragon Ball on the back, and for some reason they chose a 2-star Dragon Ball, which doesn't really make sense, and just generic Goku in the front. So it's a step up from last year's steelbook, to say the least. And rounding up, last but not least, we have the main event, the main reason why you're gonna be purchasing a collector's edition, and that is for the statue. So I was kind of on the fence based on the pictures that I saw online of how I would feel about the statue. And now that I have it in person, I can say not the hugest fan. I know what they're going for. They were trying to really emphasize that cel-shaded look that the game is kind of based on, but I feel they went a little bit too overboard with the cel shading to a point where it actually takes away from the quality of the statue itself. And especially when you round out to the back, you have this really out of place green aura, which doesn't make any sense. This definitely should be yellow because anytime you're a Super Saiyan, you have yellow aura. So this is like a really big mistake. I don't even know how that passed quality testing, but I'm not a huge fan of the name of the game on the base of the statue. Maybe if it was like a bit smaller and a more subtle plate somewhere to have the name of the game. I feel that it kind of just takes away from the statue to have such a huge nameplate at the bottom. It's kind of like if the Statue of Liberty had like a nameplate saying the Statue of Liberty on it. It would just take away from the beauty of the statue as a whole itself. I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but that's just kind of how I view it. So yeah, they definitely chose a good pose, and there's a lot of good carving around the facial area to keep it look as closely as it possibly can to the source material. But once again, the painting, it's a little bit harder to tell based on video. I actually think in video it looks pretty cool, but in person, you're just gonna have to trust me and say that I'm not a huge fan of the entire effect that they kind of went for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for my unboxing of the Dragon Ball FighterZ Collector's Edition. Once again, it has all the elements that I would want in a Collector's Edition. It has its steelbook, it has the bonus artwork that I'm not a huge fan of, but I'll still appreciate getting some really cool artwork. And it does come with a decent statue. Once again, I would have preferred it to be just a little bit bigger so it'd stand more proudly on a gaming shelf. And once again, I'm not a huge fan of the color palette that they chose. And yeah, this is what it looked like on the standard gaming shelf. Yeah, I just wish it was just a tiny bit bigger like last year's Universe statue, but it's still something. In terms of a review score, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. In terms of what you're getting for your money at 140 bucks, it's definitely better value than the Monster Hunter Collector's Edition that I showed you guys a little bit earlier. But yeah, 7 out of 10 I think is a decent score. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. As always, if you enjoyed, definitely a quick thumbs up. And if this is the very first video of mine you're watching, I am doing a series of the story mode for this game currently on the channel. So you can find the link to the first video in the description if you want to check that out. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. As always, have a nice day. Alright, so as promised, here are the other statues that are in my collection. This is the earliest one that I ever bought because Vegeta is my favorite character from the anime series. Once again, this is constructed out of a very hard actual resin, so it's built solid. The thing with the resin is, though, even though it's built solid, it is a little bit more fragile than the rubbery plastic material that most collector's editions are made of these days. But I feel like it is definitely the most high quality that you can get. The Naruto statues that you see in the background are made of the same resin. I just think that they look the best. Moving on, this is last year's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Collector's Edition statue, which is something I definitely prefer over this year's Dragon Ball FighterZ statue. As you can probably see, it's a bit taller. They're almost the perfect size for a Collector's Edition in comparison to this year's statue. And I definitely just prefer this color palette over the overly cel-shaded one that FighterZ has this year. I also really appreciate the effects of the torn clothing. It kind of feels like it's kind of like waving in the wind, and that's just a really nice effect. The only complaint I would have about it is that on the right foot of Goku, there's just this gray block that kind of makes it sit out of place. The block is there just to make sure that it can stay upright because it's kind of top heavy. Otherwise, with just the 2 feet, it would be prone to falling off. I know it does serve a practical purpose, but I feel it just is a kind of bit out of place. But yeah, definitely prefer this statue over this current year's FighterZ statue. Alright, so finishing off, I definitely saved the best for last. This is the second statue that I purchased soon after I purchased the original Vegeta statue that I showed you guys a couple seconds ago. Once again, it was an import that I bought off eBay that came directly from Japan. You can actually buy the resin kits for these, and they come originally blank, and what people on eBay do is you can pay them to paint them basically any way that you possibly want. So this is definitely the largest Dragon Ball statue that I have. It's certainly very heavy. Once again, it's made out of that same resin material that the Vegeta statue as well as the Naruto statues that you can see in the background are made of. And it depicts the final battle between Cell, if you're unfamiliar with the series. And just in terms of its detail, it's incredible. From the fingertips to the face to Gohan's wounds, it's just an incredible piece that's always constantly out in all my video game shelves and my collectible shelves, just because I'm a huge fan of the series, and it's just done so extraordinarily well. I think I paid $400 to $500 to get it imported, and the majority of that cost was shipping because it's so heavy. The actual statue, I think, was just 250, and then I paid like 150 bucks in shipping costs. So yeah, it's just great. It's incredible and it depicts one of the most iconic battles throughout the entire series. So I just love it to bits. So yeah, that's my collection. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and bye.